I'm a Tehran-based architect and Studio Davazdah principal. I graduated from architecture in 2002. Since then, I've been working in the field of architecture. I started my architectural firm about 12 years ago. We have done various projects such as pharmaceutical plants, urban apartments, and single-family houses in Iran. Besides, we designed and executed some restoration projects. Some of them are notable more and got the awards. But we don't limit our careers to design and execution. We try to research some issues which seem essential and critical for us. My office has collaborated with the Critical Urban Studies Institute, named Dr. Davazdah, since now. I participated in some research project about Tehran and about houses morphological transformation via political and social change in this city. Also, one of my favorite issues is housewives' informal influences through their unpredictable intervention in houses and women's space. Recently, my office is engaged with single-family houses. It's clear that you confront one family, they're bounded together by common interests. Although they have different needs, but ask them to fill a questionnaire to get familiar with them. But honestly, I found that people never talk to their lifestyle directly. So my strategy is listening carefully and trying to learn from them. They talk about politics, about weather, or their pets, their children, and I try to find their culture and their interests among them and translate it into architecture. I believe that architects must learn from actor or actress how they create their characters by probing among people's life. Furthermore, I've learned a lot from housewives who remodel and create their own space to their needs. They have unique self-expression through their home decoration and usage. You enter their house and you feel good. As an architect, if I want to find the reason via my professional knowledge, it doesn't coincide with the abstract layout planning or the attractive interior view you look at the magazine anymore. It coincides with the real life and our real needs. Let me answer this notable question by defining that often lived space are behind the abstract architect's design on paper. I'm curious about how ordinary people in their daily life create a space by indulging them and defining them during their use. Or sometimes they find non-space in the city that they are hidden from urban planners and turn them into a resistance field. How does an architect absence benefit space quality? I can answer that our career has done far from real society and modified for the elites. During our urban observing, we found some creative urban experiences which came up from capturing a non-space or participating in changing neighborhood life quality. Most of them were illegal, so they couldn't remain in their urban life or they had to change. Some of them are documented by urban researchers and activists. Mohammad Bahirai is one of those guys who collected and defined some experiences. Maybe a project is different in morphology or type, but they're common in the main feature, which is concentrating on context. In our method, the context encompasses political and social matters along environmental matters indeed. I believe that every side has its narration and we must listen and try to maintain its characteristics which give them identity. Sometimes our focus in our people who have lived there or in our marked neighborhoods. In this procedure, we cannot rely on architectural knowledge by itself. We need to look up other knowledge that depends on the lived space. Also, in my opinion, imagination is the way we can flee from our current situation that unfortunately is connected and fed with the dominant power, which is corrupted governance and legal, economic, and political suppression. Although our practical career is social reproduction and helps to normalize the situation, we try to imagine a utopia, current utopia, and then we would distinguish our right position to the future through this impossibility. In my utopia vision, there is no discrimination in the production or consumption of this space, and architecture will be noticed not because of its vital and visual attraction, but because it can give something to the user's life. As you know, we are picky and obsessed about the clients and the projects because we wanted to be sure they have minimum disadvantages for the environment and neighbors. I know it limits our clients, but we are on our way. So my idealistic universe is traced by a not-to-do list. I'm looking for some alternatives. I think it's our practical task on the planet to create buildings that make as little as impact on the natural world as possible. Especially water resource limitation is caused the Middle East to become a battlefield already. The war in Syria, in the Kurdish region are current examples, I think. In this case, I follow Bookchin's social ecology concept. In this concept, a sustained and balanced environment is created by eliminating discrimination and exploitation. It depends on people's right to be free and unbased, to be free and have unbased access to resources. I mentioned before, architects must be cautious about construction demands for using a lot of tools to sustain a building, either for making luxury or the advert and ethical consumption of new industries. And I think the meaning of sustainability can differ region by region, culture by culture. To be honest, 6 months ago, if you asked me this question, I would reply in another way and never talk about utopia. But nowadays, during this acute situation that we have encountered after the Zanzendegi Azadi uprising, I mean, women life freedom uprising, we saw the people, especially women, who made the impossible possible. This uprising is not dwelling on the specialist sphere. It comes from people's daily life. I think I'm responsible for our upcoming revolution. I have to redefine my position as an Iranian woman architect to find a way how to be free from power subjugation and find new description for domestic space, for social space that doesn't rely upon profit. And I mean, rely upon one-sided profit. And I think that if I want to speak about the leave no one behind, if I want to mean that leave no one behind, it means by this depiction of the utopia. I think the attitude toward female architects has changed. In the last 10 years, many more women have ventured out and established successful practices in Iran. During these years, I have had my small office to do architecture projects, but I believe the only step forward in my career is to be severe about my feminist approaches. Nowadays, women's empowerment is narrow to their personal achievements. They do their best to overbear all impediments to acceptance and are encouraged to do something like men in the end. It's obviously discriminatory. Our position as women architects never changed without any revolutionizing ideology on patriarchy. Patriarchy is not just sexual oppression, it's ethnic, class, and minority oppression. It appears in capitalistic urban consuming and producing. It shows up in unbalanced urban development strategies that ruined environment. In fact, they just reproduce current order and this current order caused acute discrimination and exploitation. I'm not with it. There are common problems on the world roughly. Women face inequality in their salaries, job position, and so on. Being a mother and an architect sometimes doesn't coincide together. Clients trust you harder and too late. It's hard to get the link with the clients. But in Iran, the extra inequality is we suffer systematic widespread legal discrimination. The authorities control our bodies, our lifestyle, and our presence, and they use all their power to marginalize women from public life. The conflict is the governments and who work and collaborate with them demand urban development by constructing shopping malls, towers, and modernizing Tehran's future. They persuade Tehran's beautification through urban arts and visual landscape management of the main squares and streets of Tehran. But in this beautified city, women's bodies and their presence are under control and harassment. Unfortunately, the tycoons, the bank owners that and celebrity urban specialists smooth it with their collaboration in projects without thinking about this clear contradiction. I think they are in alliance and they are not alike. I feel his regime's lifetime relies on women's suppression. You can follow the news that fulfill with sexual crimes and some violence against women without any penalty. And the newest one is that they started to poison schoolgirls in high school. And it's very, bad news. I can't understand it. It hurts me a lot. But the feminist revolution is on the way. And I believe that we will be victorious.